All right, folks, we are live and we're going to get started here in just a second. See, we've got about 9 people joining us at the moment, but I'm sure more people will join us as we get going. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. Um, my wife Leanne is on the live chat, so comment and let me know if you can hear me, Leanne. All right, I'm waiting just to make sure my sound's coming through here. I think it's okay, but okay. I'm going to leave a comment on the chat here. All right, so let's get started. We're going to be talking about Moonrise Bike Ride. So I'm happy that you were able to join us for this live feed. We want to keep it interactive. I'm going to be telling you all about Moonrise Bike Ride. So if you've never ridden it before, hopefully I will answer all of your questions. But I want you to feel free to put a comment out there. I'll try to keep an eye on those and make sure I get them answered. The whole point of this is just to tell you from our experience how you can best enjoy Moonrise Bike Ride and answer all your questions so that you're all set for the weekend. It's going to be here before you know it. So that's really it. We'll keep it as brief as we need to, but I just want to make sure we keep it also interactive. So, again, thank you for joining. We have been doing Moonrise Bike Ride. This is our 7th time doing it. We grew it from just a sort of random bike ride out to Pomona Lake State Park. We had one person lined up to do music. We had no food involved in the first year, and we've grown it to the largest bike packing event in the state of Kansas. And I really hesitate to call it a bike packing event because it's really a food festival and a music festival and all of those things rolled into one. So it's a fairly unique event, I think, and it's a great time. The great thing about this event is all the people that participate. My favorite thing is seeing everyone who turns out year after year. I'm sure there are people that have participated all 7 years, and want to give them a shout out if they've done it. Um, but this year is going to be special. We've got some new things planned. We've got some great entertainment lined up. So I'm going to walk through everything with you and give you the full rundown. All right. So my wife's telling me the audio is going in and out, but I'll just keep talking here. All right. So we do have registration still open. So if you are on the fence and haven't decided yet, and maybe you're waiting to hear what I have to say here before you register, there are spots open for the main event, but the campfire option is sold out. So the one night main event, and I'll talk a little bit about what the differences are here in a minute, but there are still spots open. So make sure you get registered as soon as possible. We are closing registration on Saturday, but there are about 75 spots left. So if you want a spot, make sure you get registered. Just go to moonrisebikeride.com and you can register right there. Real easy to do. So that's the first thing. I want to make sure that you get registered. The second thing, I have some other thank yous to give. One is the Franklin County, who has sponsored uh, our ride this year. They give us a grant to help with communication and marketing for this event. So I want to thank them. And then a new sponsor this year. We really haven't done sponsors much in the past, but about 6 months ago, I mentioned to our friends at Jameis that we were doing this event, and then I really didn't think much about it. But about a week ago, my Jameis rep gave me a call and said that they would really like to get involved in this event. So I'm going to hold up my Jameis sign. Thank you, Jameis. They are going to contribute a $750 gift card that can be used for any Jameis bicycle. They're going to contribute that to the event, and we're going to raffle that off, and whoever wins it can apply that to any Jameis bicycle. So I want to tell our friends at Jameis thank you. They're also going to send a couple of representatives to the event, and we'll have some of their demo bikes there. So just can't say enough about the partnership that we've had with Jameis. They've been such a great partner. You know, they're a fairly small bike company, but just the partnership and the support that they give us as a small bike shop really goes a long way, and I really appreciate it. So I wanted to give them a shout out. All right, so before we get into it, let's talk a little about definitions. This event is somewhat complicated from a logistics standpoint. There's a lot going on over the weekend, so I'm going to use some terms here that I want to make sure everybody understands before we get into it. Uh, the first thing is I use the term main event, and that um, is basically just the one night ride from Ottawa to Pomona Lake State Park and back. We call that our main event. Part of the reason we do that is because that's what most people will be participating in. We expect about 225 to 250 riders participating in that. And that was the traditional ride. We also have an event we call Campfire, Moonrise Bike Ride Campfire, Moonrise Campfire. That is our 2 night event, and that event starts on Friday. So the riders that are participating in that start on Friday in Council Grove. They ride to Base Camp Flint Hills in Allen. And then we have music and food that evening. And then that group rides to Pomona Lake State Park on Saturday to meet up with the larger group coming from Ottawa. So we have riders coming from both ends of the trail, and we all meet up at Pomona Lake State Park for the main event. So most of you are probably signed up for the main event, but some of you may be signed up for the campfire. We do limit the number of people that can participate in the campfire event, and that is primarily due to space constraints uh, at Base Camp Flint Hills in Allen. So last year we were at 60 riders. This year we moved up to 70 riders, and that's probably about the limit of where we're going to be with that event. So if you weren't able to get into that event, it did sell out in about 2 weeks after we opened registration. If you did not get into that event, there are a couple things to think about. One is if you sign up for the main event, next year you'll be eligible for early entry into the campfire event. So if you didn't get in this year, uh, do the main event. That'll give you first dibs on the spots for campfire for next year. The other way to get into campfire is there are always a small number of people who last minute cannot make it, and there is the option to do a transfer of their registration to you if you are interested in that. The best way to do that is to get onto our Facebook page, Ottawa Bike and Trail Club, and that's where I always send people if they are looking for someone to transfer their registration to. So there are a few folks out there. I think a few of them have already taken place, but it is possible for you to transfer a registration through that. So go ahead and do that if you are interested, or at least check out that page. Maybe put out there that you are interested in purchasing tickets. I will caution you that there's an official transfer process that you must use through Run Sign Up. That ensures that nobody's getting scammed. Last year, we had a few people um, offering to sell tickets and they didn't have them. They were just trying to scam somebody to Venmo them money. We want to avoid all of that, and Run Sign Up gives us the ability to do transfers through their portal. And if you do end up in a situation where you need to do a transfer, just let us know and we will send you the instructions on how to do it. Or you can do a web search on run sign up transfer instructions. It's very easy to do. So if you do want to get into Campfire, that's your best bet. All right. So again, if you just joined, we are taking questions. So if you have one as we go through this, feel free to put it in the comments and I'll answer it. All right. So the best way to go through this will be to kind of walk through the schedule of events for the weekend and talk about all of the things that are going on, which means I will start with the campfire option because that's where that starts on Friday. So I'm going to go through the schedule for that. Oh, and by the way, all of the information that I'm speaking about today is available on our website. So if you go to moonrisebikeride.com, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a section there that says Rider's Guide. And so all of this information is available on that Rider's Guide. So if uh, you need to go back and review the information, or if you forget something that I talked about, you can always go to that Rider's Guide and get the schedule and all the different details. So I try to keep that as updated as possible. So if there are other questions that come up, I will add them to the writer's guide just to make sure that there's a good source of information out there. All right, so let's get into the schedule. So starting on Friday afternoon, we have a shuttle going from Ottawa to Council Grove, and that's going to take. We have 10 seats on that shuttle. It is full, but we will be taking 10 people out to Council Grove for for Moonrise Campfire start. That shuttle will get to Council Grove at about 1 o'clock, and that means we open registration in Council Grove at Riverbank Brewing at 1 o'clock. So we will be hanging out all afternoon at Riverbank Brewing until the start of the ride, which is 3 o'clock. Always one of my favorite parts of the event, just because they have such a great space there. There's a great patio there, and we just have a great time hanging out with everybody. And about 3 o'clock, we try to push everybody out to start the ride. So that check-in process is important. We want to make sure we account for you and that we know that uh, that you're there, you're riding. We just want to try to keep track of everybody. So if when you show up to Council Grove, make sure you check in with us. There are people that will show up late, I'm sure, um, to Council Grove. That's okay. When you get to Allen, if you leave after the main group, you get to Allen, just let us know there. So, and that's true throughout this event. If you miss the check-in period, that's fine. Just go to the next spot and check in with us there and let us know that you have arrived. When you did register for the event, you probably signed a waiver. You can get around that if you do it. In that case, when you check in, we'll make you sign a waiver at that time. We hope everybody takes care of that when they register, but that's just something to think about if you didn't. All right, so that 3 o'clock time on Friday is when most of the riders will start for base camp. And it's about a 20-mile ride on the Flint Hills Trail. It's a beautiful section of trail. There will be people, that, as I said, that start late, but also there may be people that want to start early. So if you do think it's going to take you a little bit more time, or if you just want to, and get out to base camp early and enjoy that location, you don't have to stick around till 3 o'clock. In fact, last year, quite a few folks started out a little bit early. So that takes the group up to base camp Flint Hills. So a couple things also I should mention about the ride itself. This is not your traditional um, group ride, I guess, or traditional event where you have SAG stops and support. This is a self-supported event, so we are expecting people to take care of themselves, bring with them the water and any supplies you need to complete that ride. It's a 20-mile ride, that part of it, but we're not going to have any support there. Obviously, if you need support, other riders will be there to support you. So, take advantage of that. But we ask people to, make sure you have what you need to get yourself to the next point. Um, I should also mention that if you are riding Campfire and checking in Council Grove, we will also have a bag drop there. So if you are not going to carry your bags, you can just use the bag drop, and we will carry your bags forward to Base Camp Flint Hills. And that's true when we talk about the other parts of the ride. You always have the option for us to carry part of or all of your gear. When we envisioned this event, we wanted it to be a bike packing event. We wanted to give people a taste of what bike packing is. We wanted to make it self supported. Our hope is that many of you, and we know from experience that many of you will, treat it as a bike packing event, carry your own gear, and that's really what we love to see. However, we also wanted to make it accessible for anyone who is just interested in bike packing, maybe doesn't have the gear, doesn't necessarily know how to load your bike up. We're going to carry your gear for you, and you can then talk to other people, learn from other people about how to do it yourself. It's really, we want to make it as easy as possible for people to see how much fun it is, and just give them options. So that's part of our philosophy of this ride. It's really what you make it. It's either a bike packing event, or we can carry your gear for you. We hope you come away more interested in doing bike packing in the future. All right, so enough on that. So I've taken you from check in at Council Grove to Base Camp Flint Hills. Once we get to Base Camp Flint Hills, most people will start arriving there between 5 and 6. That's when the fun starts for the campfire riders. At 6 o'clock, our first musical entertainment will start, and we have Savannah Chestnut. She is a first time participant in Moonrise Bike Ride, and I'm super excited to have her. She kind of is a country music singer more than a bluegrass singer, but I think you're going to enjoy her. So she's going to start between around 6 and play until 7:30. While that's going on, we'll also be starting our dinner. So our friends again at Flint Hills Catering. Shout out to CJ. If you're on here, leave a comment. CJ is a good friend of ours. He's a great chef, and he is going to be preparing dinner for us at Base Camp Flint Hills. You'll see his name come up later. He's going to be doing a lot of the other chuck wagon cooking for us as well, but he's got Friday night at Base Camp Flint Hills covered. So you're all gonna enjoy that. One thing I will say about the meals, I just published the menus. So if you're curious what's on the menu for Friday night or any of the meals, you can go to the food there. If you scroll down on moonrisebikeRide.com, there's a food link. Check that out. We've got all the menus there. You can see what we're going to be serving. I will say that there are vegetarian options for you. So folks that when you registered, you were able to identify yourself that you want a vegetarian option. He will have enough vegetarian food for you. So if it's not specifically spelled out in those menus, rest assured that he's got you covered on that. All right. So um, once we get dinner going, once Savannah Chestnut is done at 7:30, we'll transition to our next band, and that is Weta Skirts. Weta Skirts played a few years ago on the hot year when it was 105 degrees. When we had a Moonrise Bike Ride in August, they were one of the bands that suffered through that, and they did a great job. We wanted to bring them back and get them involved again, so they are coming to Base Camp Flint Hills for the Campfire event. So that's going to go till about 10 p.m. And then at that point, lights out, and we'll all get some rest. I will say also, there are at Base Camp Flint Hills tent spots. So most people are going to have tents, but there are also hammock spots and pretty much everything you need. There's bathrooms, there is a shower house, even. We'll also be we'll have a campfire there. So if you're not familiar with Base Camp Flint Hills, it's a great place to camp, and we've got you covered. All right, so that takes us through Friday night. So now let's talk a little bit about. Let me finish up the for the folks that are at base camp. Their Saturday morning starts with breakfast again by Flint Hills Catering. CJ is going to be doing breakfast there, starting at 7 a.m. And then those riders will depart at 9 a.m. Some folks will leave a little bit early, but we want them out 9. Actually, they can take their time, 9 to 11, and they're going to be riding from Allen on the Flint Hills Trail to Pomona Lake State Park. So those folks will arrive whenever they arrive. Some of them arrive early. Some of them take all day to get there and stop and smell the roses along the way. So whatever they want to do, they're going to go to Pomona Lake State Park. For those people that are participating in that have gear, we will transport that gear from Allen up to Pomona Lake State Park for them. So it'll be there when they arrive. So that's going to take them up to Pomona. So with that, let's start on the other side of the trail in Ottawa and talk a little bit about what's going on there. So we got a lot of events going on in Ottawa that day. Um, this event has really um, caught on in Ottawa, and we've got a lot of the other organizations in town um, that want to also participate. A lot of the businesses on Main Street see a lot of energy and traffic from all of you coming to town, so they are helping us out by doing an event on Main Street. They're calling Brews, Beats, and Boutiques, and that starts at noon. We are also starting our check-in process at noon. So our hope is, even though the official ride doesn't start until 3, our hope is that you'll come down to Ottawa, check out the downtown, hang out, maybe go to Not Lost Brewing Company, um, check out the festivities on Main Street, and make an afternoon of it. So feel free to come down early and enjoy all of that. Um, in the rider's guide, I have parking diagrams. So when you do come to town, we are going to have Legacy Square, which is right behind our building. We're going to have that blocked off, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But you're not going to be able to park back there. But there's parking areas surrounding that area, and they're identified in our parking guide. And I should have mentioned in Council Grove, the same thing applies. We will have a parking guide for people that are starting in Council Grove, so I should have pointed that out. But in Ottawa, rest assured, we got parking. There's plenty of parking. You all have bikes, or hopefully, we do have one runner that's going to do it this year. So that doesn't that one runner won't have a bike, but the rest of you park a little ways away, ride your bike over. It'll be fine. Um, all right, so all of those festivities on Saturday afternoon will be taking place. We'll be checking everyone in. We'll be loading up your gear, and but there is a special event that I want everyone to be aware of, and that is at 2 p.m. We are going to have representatives from the National Rails Trails Conservancy in Ottawa to present Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks with the um, Hall of Fame award. So if you weren't aware, um, the Flint Hills Trail just was named to the Rails Trails Conservancy Hall of Fame. They wanted to do a big ceremony, and uh, we offered that we're going to have a large group of cyclists that are going to be interested in this in Ottawa on that day. So let's do the ceremony in Ottawa. So we've been working very hard with them to coordinate all of this. And so there'll be a little ceremony at Legacy Square, which is right behind our building, in the little park area. We'll do some short speeches that will present the award, and then we want to do a big group photo with hopefully all of you surrounding this event. So I think it'll be a really cool way to kick off our event and to just get everybody excited. So that's the big news about the check-in in Ottawa. So around 3 o'clock, once everyone gets there, and we do this little event, then we will do a quick. I'll say a few words to welcome everybody and kick the ride off, and then we will all start riding down the Flint Hills Trail. Now, like I said, in when we talked about the Council Grove start, we will have people that want to start early, and that's fine. We'll have people that maybe can't get there right by 3 and they want to start a little bit late. That's fine also. But just know you're going to miss the really cool celebration if you leave early or if you arrive late. So we'd really like to see a large group starting out at that point. We're going to do some video, hopefully, and it's always great to see everyone riding out, and that also assures that you can ride with people. If you're with that big wave, you're not going to have to ride by yourself for sure. All right. So that covers, I think, the festivities in Ottawa. And again, don't feel if I miss anything or if uh, you have any questions, leave them in the comments. All right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the next part of this. So, all right. So let's talk about the rest of this. So at 3 o'clock, we're all going to start riding the Flint Hills Trail. And we're going to get to Pomona around 5 o'clock, probably, most people. 4 to 5 o'clock, people start arriving at Pomona. If you're not familiar, if it's your first time to Pomona Lake State Park, there is a turnoff sign on the trail, so you can't miss it, especially if you're with the large group. But you'll be turning off the trail, heading north to the state park. When you ride into the state park, just look for the marina signs. That's your key. We are in an area surrounding the marina, and that area contains a stage and an area where we'll be set up for food and kind of all the main festivities. And then there is camping all along the lake right around that area. I will have a map of where all the camping spots are when in the rider's guide. In fact, it's the same map from last year. We're going to occupy the same area. So if you can make it to the marina, you won't have any trouble finding our camping area. It's right there. You can't miss it. We will basically have uh, tents lined up all around that side of the lake. The advantage of that spot is it's absolutely gorgeous. It is a little bit rocky, so if you have a sleeping pad, you'll be fine. But just find a nice spot along that lake, and I will assure you, if when the sun comes up in the morning, you're going to want to see the sunset around that lake because it's just absolutely perfect in that spot. So we're lucky to have that spot. Thank you to Pomona Lake State Park for setting us up with the perfect spot for this event. All right. Once we get to the lake, that's when all of the big festivities start there. We will be kicking it off with our first musical act starting at 5. So Little Miss Dynamite and her band will start at 5. This is also their first time playing at Moonrise Bike Ride. They're a really incredible high energy bluegrass band. I think you're going to love them. So they're going to get going 5 to 6:30. Right around 6:30, we will start dinner. And once again, our friends at Angry River Barbecue are going to be doing a prime rib dinner. And menu is very similar to last year, but we didn't want to change it just because that is almost the highlight for many people. We hear so many good comments about the prime rib dinner, so we're going to keep the menu pretty much the same. So he will start serving there. It may take a little bit. He's feeding 300 people or around there, and it takes a little bit of time to get through the line. But just be patient. Everyone will get a chance to eat. So that starts at 6:30. Um, Around 7, we'll have our second musical act, and that is John Depew and Depew Grass. So John Depew is a really entertaining musician, and he's pulled together a group of his friends to play some really good bluegrass for us. I think you're going to love those guys. and they're going to go from 7 to 8:30, and then at 9, let me get a my voice is cracking here. At 9, we're going to have our our headliner, and that is the Haymakers. If you were at Campfire last year, the Haymakers played, and they were just so incredible. We decided to bring them back this year, and they're going to kill it. So you want to make sure that you stick around for that. And so that will be the nightcap, and then the highlight of the evening for a lot of people, and that is our moonlight bike ride around the lake. So we'll start to queue up around 10:30 or so. Hopefully you can stay awake that late. And we do a little ride around the lake, and that is really something to behold. There are it's pretty incredible to see 300 people with lights all riding around in the dark. It's really a fantastic and one of my favorite parts of the evening. All right, so that gets you through the evening. Then everybody will have a nice sleep, and in the morning you're going to get up and you're going to see this beautiful sunrise, and you're going to enjoy uh, food by our friends at Flint Hills Catering again. He's going to be doing breakfast. Oh wait, how did I don't know how I missed this. I forgot something. Saturday night after dinner, we have a cheesecake bar. I forgot to mention that. I'm not sure how I missed that, but Flint Hills Catering last year, I think it was, or maybe no, 2 years ago, we started a cheesecake bar. That again is also one of the highlights. So after Angry River Barbecue, you're going to get a incredible cheesecake bar. So you don't want to miss that. All right, sorry I missed that. But back to the schedule. Saturday or Sunday morning, breakfast by Flint Hills Catering. We'll also have coffee by Ottawa Bike and Trail. We've got that down. Um, so you're all going to get coffee, and then you're going to leave for Ottawa. You're going to head back towards Ottawa, and that we want most riders to be out by 8 or 9. Kind of depends. You can leave a little bit later, but we want you to get back to Ottawa um, before noon or so. But whatever you want. If you want to sleep in a little bit, that's fine. Um, but we'll get everybody back to Ottawa. And then if you are one of the shuttle riders, we do have a shuttle that is leaving from Ottawa to take people back to Council Grove. So that's we have 10 spots on that. If you are on that shuttle, make sure you get there by 11 because we're going to leave at 11 to get everybody back to Council Grove. One thing I didn't mention, probably should have talked a little bit more about, is luggage transportation. So for people starting in Ottawa, we will load up the luggage and get it out to the lake. In the past, people have dropped their luggage off at noon and got on their bikes and started riding towards the lake. They get to the lake at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then they're surprised to find that their luggage doesn't show up until later. So I want to make sure if you're in that situation, you understand we don't make multiple trips. We load up the luggage, and when riders start at 3, that's when the luggage starts to move towards Pomona Lake. So it might not get there until 4 or even 4:30 or maybe even 5. So just be aware if you leave early, your luggage may not get there, and you may be at the lake for a couple hours without your gear. That's just the way it is. If you want your gear to be there when you get there, I recommend you carry it on your bike. All right. So we have a question from Dirty Spokes. Where is this ride? Good question. So you must have just joined us. This ride is on the Flint Hills Trail, and we have riders starting in Council Grove, Kansas, and we have riders starting in Ottawa, Kansas. So hopefully, if you're um, not signed up yet, you can make it to Ottawa, Kansas, and join us. It is amazing that I get a lot of people that think this ride's in Canada, but hopefully you got all that. Any other questions? Throw them in now. I'm going to go through a couple more things before we wrap it up. Um, So just a couple of questions that I constantly get. People call up and say, "Hey, I'm not going to be there for check-in." Again, that's fine. Once you get to the lake or whatever the next stop is, depending on what event you're doing, check in with us there. So we want as many people to check in with us at the start as possible. But if your schedule doesn't allow for it, just check in with us when you get there. Um, Gear transportation. So let's talk a little bit about gear. Hopefully, most of you are familiar enough with the Flint Hills Trail and sort of what the environment is like to know what bike you need. But if not, give us a call, or technically any bike will work. We generally recommend tires that are 38 millimeters or larger. If you got a road bike, that's going to be might be a little bit challenging, but you can make the 20 miles on a road bike if you really are dedicated. So if you have any questions about your bike or any gear questions, we'd love to help you at the shop. Just stop by and we can answer any questions you have about that. I do get a lot of questions about gear transportation. So if you are loading your bike and carrying your gear, great. If you want us to transport your gear, we do want you to put some thought into making sure that you're not bringing too much stuff. In fact, we always recommend pack like you're going to carry it on your bike, even though you may be having us transport it. Having said that, we understand, you might have a bigger tent, or you might have, a little bit bigger gear for whatever reason to meet your specific needs, but try to pack as lightly as possible. We generally like to have one bag and one small cooler and a folding chair if you want to bring a folding chair. There are places to sit at all the locations. So you don't necessarily need one, but if you have a small camp chair or a small folding chair, we don't mind transporting that. The most important thing about your gear is to make sure that you have your name on it and that we can identify who it belongs to. We always have situations where people leave their gear, they don't pick it up, and we need to get a hold of you. So we want to make sure we've got your name or even your phone number on your gear. So if you know, we can help you when you get here, but we really prefer you mark it yourself so that we can make that process of loading your gear as quick as possible. All right. So as I said, we'll have site maps and parking maps the uh, on the rider's guide. Also, we have all of the route maps on the rider's guide as well. So if you're not familiar with the route, you really can't get lost. But we do have the route maps. They have some of the stops that you might want to make and the facilities along the way marked. So those might be helpful to you. You can download those. They're on Ride with GPS. You can download those to your bike computer if you want. So those are all there. We have updated them with removing the detour. So this year we're going to be super happy. We don't have to ride around the detour. So they've been updated for that. I will say also, for those of you that are riding from Council Grove or from the west side, um, there is currently some construction work going on. Um, but I'm told that's going to be clear by the time the event happens. So we will be able to ride through there. I think they're just about done with that work, and they're at least to the point where they're just putting finishing touches on. So I've been told that that will be open for us for that weekend. If that changes, I will update everyone and let the folks know that are going to be affected by that. I will let you know and provide a alternate route around that work. But my hope is we don't have to worry about that. One other common question I get is just about beverages. We will provide water and Gatorade, and of course, coffee in the morning. If you want other beverages, the marina at Pomona Lake State Park does have a full beverage selection, including beer, um, different types of sodas, whatever you want. The marina, they will close a little bit early. Most likely, sometimes they stay open late for our event. But if you do get to the lake and you want some beer, go down to the marina, support those guys. they let us use the stage for free for this event. So I want to make sure we support them. Tell them thank you when you go in there. They've just been a great partner with this event. But buy some beer from them if you want it. For those of you doing base camp, doing the campfire event, my recommendation is if you want beer, bring a small cooler and we can transport it for you because there's really no place in Allen to get beer at that time of night anyway. All right. Let me see what else I had on my list here to talk about. Of course, stay hydrated. Hopefully, our weather, if the forecast holds out and we get lucky, um, it's going to be nice and cool. That's what we're hoping for, but who knows? If it's hot, stay hydrated. If it is extremely hot, we will probably do some water drops, but with the 20-mile ride, we haven't done that in the past. There is for the main event, there is a opportunity if you do find yourself in a situation where you need something at the Pomona trailhead, which is the first trailhead when you go west from Ottawa that has a pit toilet. There's a paved road there. Just head north about a half a mile, and there's a Casey's. So keep that in mind. If you're coming from uh, the Council Grove side and Allen, there are some Casey's in Osage City to get water, and there are a few other spots along the way. Those are all identified on the route map. So just have a plan for staying hydrated, and make sure you account for the weather and the heat. Oh, a couple of other questions concerning the lake. So there are shower houses at Pomona Lake State Park. So you'll be able to take a shower. There also will be charging stations. So we definitely encourage people to ride e-bikes if that's your preference. Not a problem. There is an opportunity to charge there. Last year, the area that was um, designated as a charging station was out of service. I guess they were doing some construction in that area and it wasn't working, but people found alternate ways. There's a few laundry houses and a few other places that you can go to get a recharge if you need it. It's a fairly short route if you're coming from Ottawa, so 40 miles total. So hopefully, maybe just top your battery off or get a little bit of charge to get yourself back. But most e-bikes can handle that distance without a problem anyway. But if you need to charge your phone or anything like that, we will have a designated area for that. That will be identified in the maps. I am still trying to confirm where that's going to be and just make sure that those spots are open. So you might check if it's not up to date on the map at the moment. It will be before the ride starts. All right. What else? Any other questions? You guys are quiet. I think I've covered. One other question is just about RVs. So, if you do have an RV and you want to camp, you want to use your RV for the camping, just make arrangements at the Pomona Lake State Park to get an RV spot reserved. We do have quite a few people that do that, and they have family members or whatever keep the RV at the lake, and then they do the ride and just use the RV as kind of home base. It's perfectly. Uh, a great way to enjoy the event. So if you do want to do that, just work with them on that. We don't have any control over their RV spots, but I do know that they have plenty of them. If you let them know you're with this group, they're going to put your RV spot close to the event. If there are any sort of emergencies or needs on the trail, we will have the ability to get texts to our shop number. So, if you do run into a situation that you can't, where you do need some help, you can text us and we will hopefully get it. There is a little bit of a question about Wi-Fi coverage and phone coverage when you're out there. So, that might be a challenge. We do our best to stay where we can be communicated with, but it doesn't always work. And we do our best, but that's always an option. And as a last resort, we are trying to take care of 300 people, so hopefully you can take care of yourself. But if you find yourself in a situation where you just can't, you can get a hold of us, and we will do our best to help you out and keep that in mind, I guess. All right, so I've been talking a lot, and I think I've covered all of the main points. But I want to open it up if there are any last minute questions about the ride. And I'm sure I forgot a few things, but I got a hello from Death by Ramen. How's it going, Death by Ramen? Thanks for joining us. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I will just look forward to seeing you all. Again, bring a friend if you don't. We still have plenty of spots left. I'd love to get this event full, and we're not quite there yet. So if you do have friends you want to let know about this event, we'd love to have them join us. I will say another one of the things that I wanted to mention in this is that there are a lot of people that come by themselves, and that is one of my favorite things about this event is seeing somebody arrive by themselves, looking around. Sometimes they look like they feel a little bit uncomfortable, and within 30 minutes, they have 20 new friends, and they end up making all kinds of friends throughout the weekend. So that's really what we want to see. And so make sure you introduce yourself, open yourself up to new friends. I guarantee it'll be worth it. And you'll notice that some of these people that do this ride every year, it might be the only time during the year that they see these other folks, and it's just one of my favorite things. Everybody gets to know everybody, and so we hope that you'll use the event to make a lot of friends. That's a great part of it. All right, Death by Ramen had a question, joined late. That's fine. Go ahead and throw your question out there. I would love to give you an answer. So let's hear it. And I've got another question. All right, David Franklin. Assuming that we park in Ottawa, is there room to have park all the bikes in and around the store, or do we leave them on the vehicle until it's time to start? That is a great question. So we are going to have the entire parking lot blocked off. So last year and in previous years, there has been car access to the covered area in Legacy Square. This will no longer be the case. We won't have bike racks. Necessarily, we'll have some, but we're not going to have bike racks for 300 bikes. But there's plenty of room back there where you can lay your bike down gently or lean it up against one of the poles in the covered area. So there will be plenty of room to for us to gather before the ride. So you can leave your bike on your car if you want, but I think you'll find plenty of room in that area before the event. So feel free to do that. And did hopefully I answered your question, David. If not, let me know, and I'll try to expand on that. Um, Death by Ramen says, if we want to join the party and dinner but don't need the ride support, could we purchase the non-rider ticket, or do we need the full ticket? Um, Really, the non-rider ticket is really, and next year we'll do this a little bit different. That's really meant to be an add-on. So if you're participating in the event, you should buy the full ticket. The add-on was really for people that have a spouse or a friend that they want to bring along that doesn't ride. We wanted to give them a way to participate. So I would say if you're participating, go ahead and get the full ticket. If you're coming along just to provide support and just want to have dinner, do that. But it's really meant to be. It's really meant to um, be just for people that are kind of they're not riding. Hope that answered that question. Um, Tanya Lewis says she can't make it this year, but hopes to participate in 2026. Yes, love to have you then. That'll be our 8th year. All right. Let's see. I think think we've answered all the questions. I will say we do the store will be open during check-in, so we'd love to have you come in. We've got a lot of really cool stuff if you haven't been in for a while. So check all of that out. I didn't mention our shirts and our jerseys. So we did make some really cool jerseys this year. Unfortunately, those have already been ordered, so we'll have very limited number of extra jerseys. For some reason, we didn't get a lot of pre-orders on that, so we they're kind of expensive, so we didn't get a lot of extras, but we will have a few. So if you do want one of our jerseys, they're ocean sand jerseys, and they are my favorite jersey. And in fact, they're really not jerseys; they're cycling shirts. So they don't look like a traditional jersey. So check those out. Um, if we get enough demand, maybe we'll do another run of them. But we'll have just mostly pre-orders with a few extras. T-shirts, we'll have more t-shirts available. So if you did not order a t-shirt with your registration, we will have a few extra there. So you should be able to get a t-shirt if you want one. All right. Don't see a lot of other questions. But again, thank you all for joining. And if you do have any questions before, or if you want to stop by and we can help you get your bike ready, we are getting a little bit busy, so make sure you get your bike in right away if it needs any work before the event. But we'll do our best to get it turned around. We do also have a few rental bikes available, so if you, um, some of them are reserved, but we do have extras. If you decide you want to try an e-bike or rent something, we do have a few bikes available. Just let us know right away so that we can reserve it for you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you again. And we look forward to seeing you all in Ottawa or in Council Grove. And until next time, get out and ride your bike. We'll see you next time.